is this the best leadership Tennessee has ever had? And I don't ask this question lightly because you had incredible leadership with everybody on the same page when it came to football. Now you have a different type of leadership that is battling for the good of the university, but is doing so for all sports. So I know I'm a little older than you, and maybe I can shed a little bit of light on Bill Johnson as president, Doug Dickey as athletic director, Mike Hamilton then as athletic director. But your take on Tennessee's leadership right now, and on the message board, if you could pick a word to describe Tennessee's leadership from top to bottom, which is Plowman to Heupel and the individual respective coaches, give me a word. How would you describe Tennessee's leadership now? And I would say sparklingly great, just like a piece of jewelry from Rick Terry Jewelry Design. They want to be your jeweler looking for affordable game day jewelry. How about the Fire Opals, a Tennessee tradition? RickTerryJewelry.com, RickTerryJewelry.com. Pick a word you would describe Tennessee's leadership as blank.
Superb. It's superb. Like, that's the only thing I could go to with it. It's superb. And I say this, I was not covering them when you were in the 90s when they had everybody on the same page, but I have been covering it for, 5 to 10 years now. And I've seen some very, very, very incompetent leadership. Now, you've enlightened me. I don't know how often leadership is more the fault of the boosters being incompetent versus the actual people that are in charge, because I don't know who's running what. And that was really my big, that was my enlightenment period in 2017 when I realized boosters were really running the show. But at the same time, Tennessee went through however many athletic directors and however many presidents during the 2010s. They went through quite a few. And
let's go ahead and knock these out. Better than Fulmer, better than Hart as athletic director, correct? And better than the goofballs that they had as the
John Curry.
chancellors.
Oh yeah, Jimmy Cheek and Joe Johnson and
Joe Johnson was good. So let's go back to Joe Johnson.
Sorry,
let's go back to Joe Johnson, Doug Dickey. So that's primarily who we're comparing them to. So their major goal in the mid to late 80s, their challenge was getting Tennessee on TV as much as they possibly could. Some of you younger ones may think it's crazy, but yes, you used to have to listen to John Ward to figure out what in the heck was going on because it wasn't on television. That happened, and Tennessee used that as a major recruiting advantage to go get a Terry Fair out of Arizona. Everybody was on TV then too, but to be able to go get guys in the 80s and say you're going to be on TV so your family can see you even if you can't travel. So essentially it was about recruiting. This is about recruiting too with NIL. I think the fact that they're two different goals means that they're two different ways of going about it. This, you basically just got pushed in the chest and you popped somebody in the nose, right? Whereas I think it took a lot of negotiating and behind the scenes work to get Tennessee on TV as much as they did. I hate to take the easy way out, but I'm going to call it a push because I think that the University of Tennessee, given their lack of in-state talent and the fact that they became a premier program, Caleb, shouldn't be overlooked just because we're all excited about Donde Plowman. Not to sell her short, but I mean, Tennessee, had it not been for the push in facilities, which did matter at the time, and the push in being on television, would not have been one of the top 15 programs in the nation, which I believe it is. So actually, if I had to choose one, I would go with the Joe Johnson and the Doug Dickey leadership. Now, when it comes to other sports other than football, I got no argument. The dudes doing it now are doing a way better job at baseball, basketball, and eventually I think we'll do better at women's basketball. But we all know what happened with Pat Summitt.
It's this leadership, and for a couple of reasons.
One, in all facets is what you're telling me.
Yes, but also in football. And I'm going to break down why. One, the all facets thing matters because remember, by not only did they not have to care about basketball, which you and I both know Doug Dickey did not care at all what happened to the basketball program. I mean, you can bring up Wade Houston. I can bring up really when Tennessee was a 4-time NCAA tournament program, you go and hire Buzz Peterson, who because he won the NIT, that's your home run hire in 2001. And so, I mean, it was. And Jerry Green wasn't even a home run hire. I mean, it was bad hire. I don't care about basketball, but here's why it's better now in football. It was easier to be ahead of the curve in football in the 1980s with things you bring up like stadium size. By the way, stadium size, right? That's a big one. Stadium size is a huge one. They got out ahead of the curve in stadium size, getting on TV, things like that. But Dave, Doug Dickey stepped down in 2002. By that point, you know this. Every other SEC school had caught up to Tennessee. And Doug Dickey did not do anything to get them further ahead when he had stepped down. He thought of some ideas in the 80s, and he rested on those ideas, which is why Tennessee kind of fell apart in the 2000s. And
here are some of those words to describe Tennessee's current leadership: forward thinking. That's a very good one. My favorite probably is fierce. I love that.
Wait, what do you think of my thoughts on Doug Dickey, that he let Tennessee fall off in the 2000s? I think he didn't stay ahead of the curve, and he actually, while he got Tennessee up, he's part of the reason the football program fell apart, because he didn't stay ahead of the curve.
Well, I mean, he's 70 years old there. I might fall off at 70 years old, Caleb, so I'm going to give the man the benefit of the doubt in some situations. I mean, I see what you're saying, but I would hold against him that he didn't care about basketball in the early 90s more than what he did 10 years later. You see what I'm saying? I mean, to me, that's when you're still full of stuff and vinegar and you want to go out there and win, and they didn't want to go out there and win. They didn't care. They just wanted to put a competent program out there that could sell some tickets. So I'm not going to judge him as much at the end. If you want to, you can, and I get it.
I judge you on your whole tenure of stuff. If you have the role, okay. I mean.
Well, the whole tenure then, at the top should read, didn't do anything with a basketball program when he could have. That should be at the very top. After had success in football.
And don't forget, he had nothing to do with the Lady Vols because the departments were split at the time. That was all Joan Cronin that was behind the Lady Vol success.
Yeah, no, I know that. Yeah, well aware. Yeah. But he let them run their own stuff, and the football team paid them $1 million a year so they would break even. So they were definitely supported.